Are you considering divorce? Are you dealing with it now? Are you on the other side and not sure what comes next? You've come to the right place. Welcome to the Divorce Do's and Don'ts Show with your host, Lisa C. Decker.
Hello and welcome back for another episode of the Divorce Do's and Don'ts Show. I'm Lisa C. Decker, your host, and I am excited to have you back here today for International Child-Centered Divorce Month. You know, as a certified divorce financial analyst and a real estate collaboration specialist in divorce, and now as a certified amicable divorce professional, I am very excited about how many resources are becoming available for parents who are going through divorce. I just want you to know that uh, the show that the sponsor of this show is also Divorcetown USA, and we are proud to bring you this show. And today, our guest is Rosalind Sedacca. She is a friend from a long time now, because January is International Child-Centered Divorce Month, and today, Rosalind, the founder of this International Child-Centered Divorce Month, is going to talk with us. Rosalind is a divorce and co-parenting coach recognized as the voice of child-centered divorce. She is the founder of Child-Centered Divorce Network, which provides valuable resources for parents who are facing, moving through, or transitioning after divorce. And she is also the author of How Do I Tell the Kids About the Divorce, as well as Anger Management for Co-Parents 8-hour course, and host of the Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living radio show and podcast. That is quite a repertoire there, Rosalind. And so welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be with you as always, Lisa.
Thank you. Always my pleasure as well. So, as the founder of International Child-Centered Divorce Month, I know that you offer an incredible amount of resources for parents going through divorce. Why don't you shed some light on what this month is about, how folks can find these resources, what types of resources that they have there, and really, how did this month come to be? I'd want to make sure that folks understand the story behind this.
Yes. So January is the month where more divorces are initiated than any other month of the year. It seems that a lot of parents who may be moving in the direction of a divorce in the summer or fall, by the time the holiday season comes along, say, we certainly don't want to be breaking divorce news then. Let's wait till January. So more divorces start in January than any other month of the year. And for that reason, I decided to focus on January as International Child-Centered Divorce Month, because over 1 million children each year are suddenly faced with the reality of divorce in their lives. And I want to help educate parents and the schools and the media about the consequences of doing divorce wrong, that there are better ways and not so good ways of handling divorce. And when you choose the better options, you make life so much easier for everyone in the family, especially the children. So during January, I put up a special website that's only up in January, divorcedparentssupport.com. And at that website, if you enter your email address, you immediately get a page of gifts from divorce experts around the world that you could just download and click and download as many gifts as you want. And all of them are educational, informative resources. There's ebooks and e-courses and video programs and tip sheets and coaching services and things along those lines that you can access from parenting experts, divorce experts, of various kinds of humanistic coaches, stress experts, people who understand the dynamics before, during, and after divorce. We also include people who are relationship experts on dating after divorce. And all of that information is available at divorcedparentssupport.com all through the month of January.
Well, I hope folks will avail themselves to these resources because they are phenomenal. from experts all over the world. And Rosalind, I know how hard you work to put this together every year, and it has continued to grow and evolve. And I'm happy to be a part of this wonderful treasure trove of resources for parents as well. So, what do divorcing parents too often overlook when facing divorce?
I think they are so caught up in their own personal drama and the challenges and confusion that comes with divorce that they overlook exactly how it impacts children of different ages and different stages of life. And they neglect to put themselves in their child's shoes and really experience the divorce from their child's perspective. And if they did, they would realize that children are frightened and insecure, and they're picking up in your energy. So the more difficult the energy is between the parents, the more the conflict is around the children so that they're feeling it and experiencing it, the more angry the parents are and belligerent towards one another, the more frightened the kids are, and the more damaging the entire divorce experience is. And it doesn't have to be that way. There are better options and resources and choices today. And parents need to remember that no two divorces are the same. So whatever your cousin did and your sister did and your neighbor did in their divorce doesn't mean you have to do it that way. And there may be better options for your family that'll get you through the entire process in a much more easy and amicable way.
Yes, and you and I have had conversations about what to do when you want to cooperate, but your spouse doesn't. How do you handle that? Any tips on that?
Yes, so that's a very important question because obviously the two parents are not feeling very amicable in most cases when this process is taking place. And so we have to remember that all we can do is work on ourselves and monitor our behavior. We can't control and fix the other person, which too many of us have spent time in our marriage trying to do, which ends up in divorce very often. The only thing we can control is our own behavior. So we have to be mindful of our attitude and our approach, especially in front of the children. And we have to be mindful of our attitude and approach to the co-parent, because the more belligerent we are, all it's going to do is create more belligerence and anxiety in the other parent, and it becomes a battle. And we don't want divorce to be a battle. So you want to take the high road and make decisions for yourself that are in your best interest and your family's best interest and your child's best interest. And that means disengaging in conflict, in battling, in fighting, and being a role model for your children, showing them ways that you're handling the situation that's non-confrontational, that's calmer and more peaceful, so that they see there are other alternatives and they don't have to just follow into a high conflict situation, even if the other party wants to create conflict. And your children are watching and learning from you, so they will pick up on your behavior and hold you responsible when they're grown adults for how you handle this divorce.
Absolutely. And that reminds me, you talked about how your son in previous, we've had many interviews together over the years. It's been my pleasure to participate in so many of your wonderful events and to have you on webinars and other things that I've done over the years. But I do recall one story that stuck with me was about your son and how he came to you when he was an adult, and what he said to you, I think was so beautiful. Would you mind sharing that with the audience?
Not at all. Yes, so my son was 11 when we divorced, and it took me many years to work up to the decision to have the divorce. I was trying to avoid it, and life was getting more stressful at home, and we were fighting amongst ourselves as parents. And my son was showing signs of stress, headaches, and other things that were indicating he was not handling living at home with us very well. I knew I finally had to make the decision that the divorce would be in the best interest of all of us. And we divorced, and I focused on creating as amicable a situation as possible. And we learned how to co-parent together and raise my son. And one day when my son was in his early 20s, he came to me out of the blue and he said, you know, Ma, you and Daddy did a really good job with the divorce. And I just want to thank you, because most of my friends whose parents divorced either hate their parents or are very angry at them. And I think you guys were great. And I was so shocked. It was such an unexpected conversation at that time. And I felt such a sigh of relief knowing that we did something good. It worked out well. And it became the catalyst for my founding the Child-Centered Divorce Network, because I realized there was a lot that I could share with other parents. And I became a divorce and co-parenting coach and ended up writing several books and courses and programs on child-centered divorce and divorcing in the best way for your children. And it became my life's passion.
So that's just beautiful how you can take something that is very challenging in your life and so incredibly difficult and turn it around and make the world a better place because of it. And so that's a beautiful journey that you've been on, Roz. And I'm so grateful that you are out there doing this good work, sharing all of this and setting an example. You know, we talked also once about on a show that you had me on, I can't recall the other guest name, but she told the story of how, you know, when she divorced, it was very ugly. She never thought she would get along with her ex, and the children were being affected, and she didn't know what to do about it. But over time, she changed the way that she behaved, her attitude towards things. She couldn't change her ex. She came to realize that. But once she softened herself, it seemed to have a ripple effect. And eventually they became friendly again, and they were able to do things together as a family or be in the same room when they had, you know, holidays and things like that. And their children were so much the better for it. So I just want to remind people that even if it isn't that way now, that doesn't mean it might not be that way in the future.
And that's such an important point, because you're so right. It only takes one person to make the shift. And when you do, you're usually going to get better results. So it's worth the effort. It's worth trying different things. And it's worth thinking about the fact that when you're in a contentious situation, it's so rare that people talk to each other in a very warm, positive, supportive way. And so if you find something positive about your ex and say, hey, thanks a lot. I know you had to grab Tommy 2 hours earlier than you expected to, and thanks for changing your schedule to do that. Just that a sentence or two just is like a tap on the back and saying, thank you, I appreciate it. You're more likely to get something like that in return from your ex, and you're starting to role model better, healthier ways of parenting, because co-parenting isn't a mechanical thing. It's life, and life is full of changes and accidents and things that just suddenly happen when schedules change. And so you want to be very aware of being nice to each other as much as possible, being flexible with one another as much as possible, and being there for each other as much as possible, because this is a lifelong experience. You're co-parenting not just while your children are young, but when they're older and when there's grandchildren involved, and it's the rest of your life. So why not find a way to do it in the best possible way? And that's a gift and a blessing for your children.
I couldn't agree more with that. And you know, when clients come in and sit down with me, I typically work with couples. And if they are not, you know, if they're having some problems, and many times they are, if they're not as friendly as I would hope, when it comes to the children, I remind them that, you know, the greatest gift you can give your children is for them to be able to get married and happy that you are both in the same room, that their attention is not diverted from the best day of their life, or when grandchildren are born or graduations happen, that they are able to enjoy the moment because they're not worried about you and their other parent fighting or the tension in the room. And that really has people stop and think. So I am, again, very grateful for all of these wonderful resources. And the fact that we are having this dialogue goes a long way towards helping people understand that maybe not today, but tomorrow can be a different day and the day after that. Let's see. What do divorcing parents too often overlook when facing divorce?
So I think very often we get so caught up again in our own personal drama that we're overlooking what the situation is for the children at the different ages. And we forget that what our children want most is the ability to love both parents without one parent saying, your other parent isn't such a nice person, you shouldn't really like them. Look what your father did, look what your mother said. Letting the kids love both parents without guilt or shame, and letting the children be loved by both parents without guilt or shame. So that means not saying that your father can't call you when you're at my house, or your mother, you can't text your mother and tell her about something that happened while we were together. We don't want to be picky with each other and demean the situation for the children and make the children feel ashamed or embarrassed or confused about just loving both of their parents. Giving them the ability to do that is a weight off their shoulders and makes life easier. And we don't want them to ever feel that they have to apologize for just saying, hey, I miss daddy. I wish I could call mommy later, because that's a natural thing that children want to do. And it supports them. And usually, if you extend yourself in that way on your side, it's easier for your co-parent to say, well, I can do something nice like that too, because they could see the impact it has on your children.
Mm-hmm. Such simple things can have such a great impact. Um, it reminds me of the story of my situation. I've never been divorced, but I'm a grandchild of divorce. And my grandparents' divorce was so contentious that the families separated and never stayed connected. And I never knew half of my family until just recently. Just in the last few years, I found them. And it was sad because those of us who are around now never were involved in that divorce. And yet I've missed a lifetime with good people that I am related to. And you don't want these kinds of things to happen. It is so important that children have continuing relationships with other family members, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. And if you're not handling things well in the divorce, that can become problematic too.
Yes, I stress that strongly with clients, because grandparents and extended family are so important. And it's the foundation of family life. If kids were used to having interactions with these people, to suddenly cut it off because something bad happened between you over there, and suddenly they don't have aunts and cousins, it's shameful. And so you want to talk to everyone in the family about being as mature as possible about all of this, not talking to the kids in a way that badmouths other people in the family, and allowing people to have extended relationships, and also be mindful of how children are connected to pets, making sure that you suddenly don't lose access to the pets that they love, because that's another secure factor in their lives. You want to focus on creating as much the same as possible to create stable, secure future as you're moving into the transitions and the unknowns that happen after divorce. So it's very important to talk to everyone in the extended family and do as much as possible to continue those strong relationship bonds.
So such valuable information, and the pets as well. We are all attached to our pets, and to suddenly not be able to visit with your pet can be very difficult. So, what do children of divorce want their parents to know and understand?
They want them to know and understand that the energy that you're exuding about the divorce impacts them, and they pick up much more than they tell you about. So they're aware and they're confused, and there's nothing they can do to fix or change the situation. So they want you to be as kind and generous with one another as possible, and keep the kids out of conflict. Don't make the kids feel guilty or ashamed for loving the other parent or wanting to be or talk to the other parent when they're with you. Don't create a competition. It's not about choosing one or the other. They want both of you in their lives as much as possible. And the more you can open the door to that happening, the happier the kids will be. They also don't want to hear from you about your drama and your conflict. They don't want to be your parent. They don't want to be your guardian and take care of you. Life is tough enough for kids today. They don't need the burden of doing that. And so keep it away from them and honor the fact that they're kids, and make life as happy and carefree for them as possible. And at the same time, there's nothing wrong with disciplining your children and having boundaries and all the other things that parents have to do. You just want to be doing it in a mindful way so that your kids can go on with life. And so a great question to ask yourself is, would I be making this same parenting decision if we were still married? Or am I changing the decision? I would have said yes, but now I'm saying no because I'm hurting my ex. I would have said no, but now I'm saying yes because I want to stab my ex and wound them in some way. If your intention is not purely the well-being of the children you love, then you're off the mark. And that's a good question to get you back on track, because what you want to do is just make clean parenting decisions in the best interest of the children that you love.
Great way to end this segment here, Roz. I love that. Ask yourself that question. Where can folks find all of these wonderful resources that we've been talking about for the Child-Centered Divorce Network Month special website that you have created?
Thank you. Yes, so Child-Centered Divorce Month is, everything is available at divorcedparentsupport.com. Just enter your email address and everything will pop up for you, and you could visit as often as you want, again and again, all through January. And this is the 16th year we're commemorating International Child-Centered Divorce Month. And year-round, you could reach me and all of the resources that I've created at childcentereddivorce.com. And there's a free ebook right on the homepage. There's tons of free articles and videos and interviews, as well as lots of resources on breaking divorce news to kids, anger management for co-parents, successful co-parenting strategies, dating after divorce, and on and on. So you have a wealth of resources at childcentereddivorce.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again, Roz. Always a pleasure having you on the show and connecting with you in any way. You are a treasured friend as well, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to share with you now a few things that you can find at Divorcetown USA, where you can download the Divorcetown USA roadmap you see here. And you'll see that we have Put Kids First Parkway, because we are about putting kids first. But you can also find an ebook that explains each of these options, helps you understand which one is best for you and your family, and outlines other professionals and resources you may need along the way. We also offer Divorcetown USA free articles and videos, and our marketplace features some of our favorite products and services that we have found to help you through the divorce process. Now, the Divorcetown marketplace has been redesigned to bring you some of the best books, products, and resources that we've found through the years to help you through your divorce so you can thrive long after. You can see here we have the sections on the divorce process, healing and recovery, divorce and finances, divorce and children, co-parenting resources, and some things that we call just for fun, and even a section on professional development. The marketplace has something for everyone at whatever stage you are in the process or after the process. Now, at Divorcetown, at divorcemoneymatters.com, you can download your free divorce financial fitness kit that I created to help you get better organized and take more control of your money matters during your divorce. We have an ebook, a working Excel spreadsheet of documents. I'm telling you, folks, that is an invaluable tool right there. The things that you'll need to gather, and a list of 50 must-ask questions for when you're ready to meet with a family law attorney. Divorcetown USA also sponsors a virtual divorce help and hope support group through meetup.com, which meets once or twice a month via Zoom. And meeting dates and times are always posted on the Divorcetown USA in the events section. And next week, we'll continue International Child Centered Divorce Month with special guests Diane Dirks and Rick Boyles with the topic co-parenting dilemmas and solutions based on their successful dragon method. So join us next week to find out more about that. We hope you found this week's episode of the Divorce Do's and Don'ts show helpful. We look forward to seeing you all next week and every week as we continue to improve the way the world divorces.